Hi, and good evening, everyone. My name is Albert. This is Vlogs About Nothing. Thank you very much for taking the time out of your night to join me. I really appreciate it. I gotta tell you, getting over this 800 video mark is like more difficult than getting to the actual 1,000 videos. Every time I look at my screen and I see that it's not at 800 videos yet, I kind of start to freak out a little bit. Only again, because as we all know, math isn't my thing, but if I did the numbers correctly, we'd fall well below 1,000 videos. So here I am. I hope that you guys are doing really good. And in fact, I'm feeling so good that this is the first of four videos that we're just going to do right after each other, like we used to do back in the day. You remember that? I'd sit in front of the camera, four impromptu speeches, 40 minutes straight, just me talking, kind of like an exercise in and of itself. Forgive me, my cockroach friends are just freely roaming around my bedroom right now. Despite all of my best efforts to alleviate their presence, they somehow always manage to seem to thrive. Not just survive, but thrive. If we could only take a lesson from them, what are they doing that's so much different and better? Clearly, than what we're doing. Anyways, I'm not going to get into metaphorical comparisons of sentient human beings and cockroaches, but I'm just saying sometimes I feel like they're just a little bit more ahead of the game than we are. Not just scientifically speaking and or biologically speaking, but like they're winners. They've been around a long time. And so, yeah, I mean, credit where credit's due. You critters. Yes, I did just call them critters. A word I picked up from my late grandmother. Rest in peace, Grandma. Also, most recently heard from this older lady that I was involved with loosely for a while. And, anyways, it just is a reflection of age. Don't say critters unless you know the etymology behind it. Just a bunch of old people usually say it. I'm not sure why. But yeah, so tonight I want to talk about, and we talk about giving credit where credit is due. Often that's what I like to do because sometimes I don't feel like people get the kind of credit that they deserve. Whether it's a bad thing like walking around like the poster boy of the world, whether it's the Elon Musk kind of thing or something else, you feel me? I like to give credit where credit is due in all seriousness and in all satirical, truthful humor possible. But Alabama, okay, and I've said it before, so I'll say it again because we're talking about Alabama. I've been to Alabama a few times. I've been to what is the Vestavia Hills? Okay, so Tuscaloosa. Tuscaloosa is in Alabama. I always confuse Lawton and Tuscaloosa. Forgive me, but Tuscaloosa. I've been to Birmingham, Montgomery. I think these are all places in Alabama. Anyways, I like Alabama. I went to a Sonic there. I went to a couple Piggly Wigglies. I saw people getting their hair cut outside of a Piggly Wiggly. I mean, it was kind of cool. Honestly, I'm a dude. I need haircuts. Sometimes I'm not going to get one again, though, because this is my year of sober long hair living. Yeah, I actually want to remember what I look like with the long hair this time. And credit where credit is due. Miss Crazy, you know who I'm talking about out there, literally sat there and watched me cut off my beautiful hair in all of the dismay that it caused me with a smile on her face. Oh man. Anyways, as my hair grows back and as I continue to search for things to talk about here on my channel, I do want to give credit to these people and link in the description below. Listen, I brought up Alabama because I tend to shame Alabama a lot for some reason. I mean, other than there being a really fast response time to abortions and how the care and or treatment of like clinics like Planned Parenthood and stuff operate, you feel me? I mean, so Alabama, the women in Alabama really stood up during that particular time, and credit where credit is due, right? So there's a lot of good things about Alabama, you feel me? But I've spent a good amount of time this year pointing out a lot of things that are wrong with Alabama. Archaic institutional laws that concern systemic racism and incarceration rates and judiciary board members and Supreme Court state legislatures. The governor of Alabama is a waste of time and should have retired 40 years ago. That is not a low blow. I mean what I say. Seriously, old lady, please stop doing what you're doing. You're making the world a terrible place. But you don't gotta take my word for it, right? I'm not a resident of Alabama. I do know though that there are a lot of young women in particular who are making sure that basic inalienable human rights are being presented to their local constituents, and so that's where the credit is due. But link in the description below to this video that talks about how a bunch of boomers got arrested for they were charged with giving out grand jury testimony. The only problem is there was never any grand jury, there was never any testimony, and it was all just to help an already corrupt administrator maintain a superintendent position without the kind of vetting and procedure that is required of her to get before she is to be reelected as the superintendent of the largest district in the state of Alabama. Now, again, this woman, similar to the governor and similar to all of those people that make bad decisions as it concerns basic human rights, whether that is incarceration rates or whether it is electing through a corrupt kind of a way a person who is a bully and who intimidates and who is one of those quote law abiding close quote people that lawyer up and harass and try to arrest you if you don't agree with what they're saying. So again, link in the description below. It's a really interesting expose or video essay. It talks about the inner workings of how these old people that are members of the board there, of the like school board, and they're responsible for electing their superintendent and so forth, and they were falsely arrested and in a couple of cases incarcerated for crimes they never committed, and all because some crazy lady out there, in this particular case, if it were a crazy dude, and we'd call him a crazy man, I guess, because we're using dude in the slang way, not the technical term. So let's not get weird with that. Anyways, I always think of that, right? Because it's like something you learn when you're in first grade and you get the word dude in your vocabulary. And then there's some wise guy out there who's like, oh, hey, did you know, by the way, dude means this? And you're just like, man, thanks for ruining it for me. You feel me? No, I didn't know it meant that. I just thought it meant a cool person. But thanks, you feel me? Anyways, watch this video, okay? Kind of get the vibe of what I'm trying to talk about here. And I've said it before. What's like the right thing to do now has always been the right thing. What's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. And rarely does that change. Rarely does that change. I guess sometimes it could. I don't see how, like, logically, because again, what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. And so these people that got falsely imprisoned stood up for what was right and what is the right way to do things, and they were imprisoned for it. You feel me? So sometimes, doing the right thing and speaking your mind leads to some dark places. And does it change the fact that they were right and that the prosecuting district attorney ended up dismissing all of the charges as soon as it came to a judge? The judge was like, this is crazy. This is nonsense. What grand jury testimony? There was a grand jury here? Like, what's going on? What's more criminal is saying that there was a grand jury and then there's no grand jury. I mean, that's fraud. I mean, I'm not sure. It's a good I don't know. Do lawyers, like news anchors, are they allowed to lie? Like, is that a protected constitutional thing? And the news, after all, is entertainment. It's not supposed to be 100% factual. I mean, you guys have seen the memed video, I'm sure by now, of the tens of thousands of scripts that simultaneously go down each single time a local news station is run here in America. And that is an interesting one because it's also very true, very accurate, and just very telling of the kind of area that we've entered in as it concerns media, streaming, the 21st century, all these different things. Check out that link in the description below. We didn't do too much time or any justice at all, really. But that video does. I talk about nothing. You know, I mean, what are you going to do? I'm not the one that's making the reports. I'm not the one that's doing the work. You feel me? I just simply am commenting on it. But seriously, kudos to them, like my old boomer friends. You feel me? I'm very interested in making friends across generations, and it doesn't really matter, I guess, what their age is necessarily, so long as they haven't been poisoned yet by the idea that we all are stupid and can be told whatever you want to tell us, and we're actually just going to believe it and take it at face value, hold elections for superintendents 6 months before they're actually supposed to happen, and then get in trouble because we've somehow committed a crime by not committing a crime. I don't understand how that works. You know what I mean? But I hope that you guys are doing well. Let's get to video number 2. I have no idea what we're going to talk about, but at this point, you feel me? It's just being on camera and making this catalog. That's what we're doing. So let's move on. Bye.